Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown!
Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one! Another one!
Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three, and
He hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. It is Friday. We have reached the end of the week, and the weather has finally gotten to a point to where it is quite agreeable. Looking forward to a very nice Friday. It is the day before Little Five. Well, actually, it's the running of the Little Five for the women in Bloomington at Armstrong Stadium. So big weekend, Little Five weekend for Indiana, billed as the world's greatest college weekend, and it will be nuts. Bloomington usually swells to about 3 times the size during this weekend. Lots going on today, lots to talk about. Alec Lasley will be joining us, Zach Osterman from the Indy Star, Alec, of course, from thehoosier.com. Maurice Creek is supposed to be joining us from the Medora Timberjacks, along with Joey Sichting, their GM, and Jeffrey the Greek. So lots to get to and lots to talk about. Indy 500 testing is underway. Ali Patberg waived by the Fever. Not a big surprise there. A third-round draft pick. It's hard for a third-rounder to make it. But so that dream is on hold as of the moment. So I just saw that had happened. Angelo Pizzo looking at creating a movie. We'll have to get Angelo back on for the inaugural running of the the 1911 Indianapolis 500. That will be cool. Eric Hunter of Purdue is in the transfer portal. A little surprising there, I guess. But it seems like every year Purdue has had someone go into the portal that has been surprising. I'm like, really? It was Harms, a couple years ago, and now Eric Hunter. I'm like, all right. So there's that. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, Sean McNeil visiting Indiana yesterday and today. Indiana basketball getting the West Virginia transfer a look-see and a welcome in as they welcome him in to look. This guy is we'll talk more about this with Alec, but he's a shooter. He came to West Virginia after spending 1 year at Sinclair Community College, where he led the nation at 30 points a game. He also led the country at 4.3 made threes per game. So that was at the community college. And, of course, after playing a reserve role in his first year at West Virginia, he averaged over 12 points a game, shooting nearly 39% from three in his second season. And he made 2.5 threes per game. He was named All Big 12 honorable mention. In 89 career games, he scored in double figures 47 times. So half the time he's in double figures. That's the consistent scoring that Indiana needs that I've been talking about. You've got to have someone that can consistently score. And 50% of the time you're in double figures, that's consistent. We'll talk more about him with Alec Lasley when he joins us. Everybody, plenty of people jumping on to the Andy Moore Honda hotline as well. Don't forget our good friends, Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, our number one Honda dealer here in Bloomington. We're brought to you by, as well as the Wow Club. The Wow Club is a totally free app to sign up for. Start earning Wow rewards today. Wow Club members earn exclusive discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more sent directly to your mobile phone when you sign up for the Wow Club. You immediately start earning discounts, free food, and even VIP invites to special events. The Wow Club app is available in the App Store or the Google Play Store. It's the only mobile app you'll need. So go sign up for that. It's totally free, and it makes us look good. So please do that. Help us support the sponsors that help us bring you this daily content. Without them, we can't do that. So looking forward to that. Any questions, pop them up into the Andy Moore Honda hotline. let's see, everybody just saying hello mainly. Forrest, Michael, Larry. Yes, I agree, Forrest. Tim, down at Taylorsville Lake today. Man, everybody, Pete, up north. Site of where the what is it going to be? Where are they moving up there?
Pete, give us your thoughts. Are you excited about the Big Ten tournament going to
Of
Indianapolis
course he
in
is.
2024?
No, he's talking about Minneapolis.
What did I say? Indianapolis? I did that
Yes.
yesterday. I did that yesterday too.
Well, of course he is. He lives there. Why would he not
And he's
be?
the only Indiana fan happy about it, I'm sure.
I guarantee he may be the only Indiana fan lives in Minneapolis. Why would you live up there? It's too
Hey,
cold.
Jeffrey the Greek, an Iowa fan living in Minneapolis area.
Oh, well, that would be cool. But it makes no sense to me. It does. I mean, you usually have events like this in places like Indianapolis or Chicago. Not that Minneapolis is not a big city. It is. It's obviously a major U.S. metropolitan city, but it's just up out the way. And I agree that I guarantee you this is only happening because of Kevin Warren.
Yeah, I'm on board with that now too. I originally thought it was the beginning of circling around the conference, but as soon as I think it was Jennifer that mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah, a great catch.
A Kevin Warren thing. So yeah, that's
a great catch.
Very,
and that drives me
I
in.
would say.
That's the only good thing about it. I will have a free place to stay. So there is that.
But up in the middle of March, though, obviously it's not the middle of winter, but I'm sure it doesn't stop snowing up there until mid-May, at least.
Hey, we got Bill jumping on. Hey, appreciate you, Bill. He's up in the UP. That's right, up in Michigan.
Upper Peninsula.
You're Youper. Hey, I've been to the UP, man. When I was rodeoing, we had rodeos up in the UP. That was
up until about 3 years ago. I didn't even know what the UP was. Someone had to explain.
Beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful place, man. It is gorgeous. I would not want to be there in the winter for obvious reasons, but in the summertime, it's as pretty as a place as you're going to find. Just gorgeous, no humidity, beautiful lakes. Yeah, it's a gorgeous place up there. Above Wisconsin. Sits above Wisconsin, by the way, if you're not a geography major. Yes, it is going to be a wild and wacky weekend in Bloomington this weekend as the Little 500 is here. Like I said, today the women go at it, but the peeps start arriving. Like I said, Bloomington swells till about 3 times its size. I will be sure to stay away from Bloomington most of the week. Actually, I'll be up in Indianapolis watching basketball, so I don't have to worry about that. Work keeps on going for us, baby. Speaking of which, we'll talk more about that with Alec later on, and I don't have the daggone it. Where is my list? But 2 events this weekend going on, and the Hoosier.com will be up there covering both of those. And we'll talk more about that with Alec when he comes along later on. Zach Osterman's going to be on as well. Maurice Creek. Mo now playing for the Medora Timberjacks. I've talked a little bit about this, but I wanted to let him make the announcement, and I think he finally did. We talked a little bit about this league, the basketball league. There are 4 teams in the state of Indiana, and I was not aware of this at all until this with Mo. Joey Sichting, the GM, is supposed to be coming on with them as well. His brother is Jerry Sichting. And if you're a basketball fan, period, you know who Jerry Sichting is. He I forget where he went to high school, but played at Purdue, played several years in the NBA, a well-known former basketball player. He's their consultant, but looking forward to that. It's kind of cool. You have those 4 teams in Indiana in kind of cool locations. Kokomo, the Newcastle team, I'm not exactly sure if they're actually in Newcastle, if they're moving around. Where was the other one? Lebanon, and then Medora. They're missing one, I think. But it sounds like it'd be Todd Lindemann came from the Youper. He's a Youper. Oh, Forgot about that. Oh, my. Hopefully we'll see him for Jordan Hall's golf event that's coming up. And John, as a matter of fact, go ahead and throw that up right now. I've got to get this up on the Hoosier.com, but the Never Lose Hoop golf outing, the Jordan Hulls, is back in action, baby. Coming to you on June 23rd of this year, taking place at the golf club at Eagle Point. Never Lose Hoop. All benefits go to Never Lose Hoop, which benefits area kids with cancer. You can put yourself a team together, a whole sponsorship. If you want to do a whole sponsorship, it's only $100. And if you're just a fan and you want to do that, I'll make sure we get a picture with Jordan and some of the other people that are there next to your sign and have them send it to you. So there's a way to do that where you can still contribute and be a part of it and help the kids out, even if you can't play. But if you can come play, I know some people have already talked about they're coming down and playing. Ryan up north is going to do that as well. So looking forward to it. We'll keep you up on that though. But you can sign up. I know Jennifer is on that. I think she already has a team. So looking forward to that. It should be a fun time. For that, it's Friday, baby, and the weekend is here. Little 5 weekend. What does everyone else have planned to do? Jason says McNeil makes more sense than Dennis to me when he shooters. I agree. I've said that all week. I understand that Dexter Dennis is a great defender, but the thing I keep saying over and over is Indiana defended pretty well last year. They had the top defense in the Big Ten. But where was your offense? It was terrible. Your three-point shooting, it was terrible. So guess what? I'm looking at what needs to be fixed. I mean, defense, I never will slight defense, but you can't go completely one way. It never works. You have to have something. The Denver Broncos, they won a Super Bowl mainly on defense, but they had a competently run offense. Not superb, but it was competently run. You got to have something to go along with that. Mike says, absolutely, we need a shooter. Indiana needs shooters. Maybe this is the missing piece. And know if they truly will be contenders, but who's leaving it will be, yeah. That's another question. That Indiana's full. We've talked about this all week. They're full at the moment. With Sean McNeil being courted, obviously, and Dexter Dennis being courted, obviously, that would have to open up another spot. And who would that be? And how would it be done? It's a great question. And obviously, we try to know and find out things as much as possible. We'll talk more about this with Alec and Zach, because it is what it is. And somebody got to go if somebody comes in. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, Alec Lasley from the Hoosier.com will be joining us. We'll talk more about the recruiting and the weekend coming up and plenty more as Zach Osman from Indy Star, Jeffrey the Greek, Mo Creek. Looking forward to talking to all those guys and more. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by Andy Moore Honda and Southern Stone Restaurant, located right here in Bloomington at the corner of Patterson and Rogers. Comfort food with Southern charm. It is a great place to have a great meal. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
What's going on, Alec?
What's up? How you guys doing?
We're doing good on this lovely Friday.
Yeah.
I'm curious if Jim's going to ask you what him and I argued about yesterday on here.
Oh, gosh.
He briefly mentioned it before he went to break, so he probably will. But
what is it?
About what Indiana does if Sean McNeil commits to Indiana and Trace Jackson Davis decides to come back. if both those things happen.
I mean, I think Dexter Dennis would commit first, but
You really do? Okay.
I mean, McNeil still has.
Well, it doesn't have to be McNeil, but just a player plus Trace Jackson Davis is what.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma.
Yeah,
it's a good one to have, but an interesting one nonetheless.
Jennifer just asked me, why would Indiana want to keep Miller Kopp? I don't understand. You can't. You see, it's not about wanting to keep him. You can't make him leave. That's the thing. You can't make Miller Kopp leave.
Well, especially because he really can't go anywhere at this point because he's already used the one-time transfer rule, and I don't know what. Obviously, the NCAA still kind of hands out waivers, but I mean that's you're putting a lot of faith in the NCAA.
I think even though fans aren't happy with him right now, I think he's happy being in Indiana. I don't think he wants to go anywhere.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think having him without Parker Stewart's no knock on Parker Stewart. I think the opposite would have been said too if Miller Kopp left and Parker Stewart stayed. Is whichever one stayed out of those two was going to have a better season this upcoming year than last year. So I don't,
because that's less of there'll be more weight put on him to shoot and score.
Yeah, and they're just the exact same player almost. So you can't have two of those guys on the floor,
especially in the starting lineup.
Yep.
Here we go.
.com is where you can find complete coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by K-Bello. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Friday. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you. Brought to you by our good friends at K-Bello, a part of the WOW Network. K-Bello is a great new Italian restaurant located in the heart of downtown Bloomington. Visit K-Bello to experience the taste and traditions of the Italian heritage right here in southern Indiana. Enjoy handmade pasta and house-made desserts. At K-Bello, they curate local produce, purchase fresh beef and pork and chicken from BB's Market, so every meal you share at K-Bello has roots in the community. Catering options also available, along with private rooms. Welcome aboard, Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Lots of questions, baby. We've got lots of questions, and there are lots of opinions, but at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Who will stay and who will go? Someone's got to stay and someone's got to go if someone comes in. And Indiana's still courting outside players. Dexter Dennis with his visit earlier in the week. Sean McNeil right now finishing up his visit today with Indiana. So obviously they are not done recruiting, which means it's one of two things. Trace Jackson leaves and they use that scholarship, or if he stays, and I still think he stays, that he's not going anywhere, especially with Oscar Shibwe staying, with Cabot staying from North Carolina and guys like that. I don't see Trace Jackson leaving. But anyway, if he does not leave, does either of these guys come in or does something else happen? I think that they're missing a piece. I don't think Dexter Dennis is the missing piece. I think Sean McNeil is the missing piece. Their defense last year was the tops in the Big Ten. Their offense sucked. their 3-point shooting sucked. So it is just too obvious to me to plug in the missing piece as opposed to adding defense to what you already do very well at.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at either of those two guys, and one, to kind of go back to your initial point, I think you're going to fill the roster with, you know, one of those three guys, whether it's Trace Jackson Davis, Dexter Dennis, or Sean McNeil. I don't think you're going to see Indiana get too involved with anyone else, at least for the time being, right? There still could be a lot of different moving pieces that still happens, but I think for the time being, that's kind of the main core that you're focused on.
What keeps one of these guys from committing?
I mean, nothing necessarily, but again, you just have to look at it. They have 1 year of eligibility left, McNeil and Dennis. So they want to go to a spot where they're not only going to have the best opportunity to increase their likelihood of either playing professionally or winning at a big time program. Right, West Virginia's been down over the last few seasons when McNeil's been there, so he's played in 2 NCAA games, NCAA tournament games, but really hasn't experienced a lot of winning at the super high level in terms of, you know, late in the season in big time games. And then at Wichita State, obviously Dennis hasn't really had that ability either. He's played in some NCAA tournament games as well, but neither of them have really gone on deep runs in the tournament, and both of them are guys who are getting looked at from a lot of big time programs around the country. And they're going to make sure that with 1 season left, they're going to go to the place that fits them best, and the place where they can showcase their entire skills and abilities. And I think either one for Indiana is going to greatly make them a better program and a better team than what they were a season ago. You know, people want to look at the main outlier between the two guys there, right? Is the shooting ability, or at least the consistency shooting between McNeil and Dennis. And while that can be said, right, Dexter Dennis still shot 40% from 3 as a freshman. Obviously, still, you know, a long time ago. Still shot about 35, 36% as a sophomore as well. So he's shown the ability to hit the outside shot. Something can be said to that, though, when you're one of the go-to players, right? They still have Tyson Etienne, who just declared for the draft at Wichita State. So he gained a lot of that kind of responsibility as a scorer, but still Dennis was relied on to do a lot for that offense. And if you come to Indiana, you're not going to have to do that. You're not going to have to be the guy who puts up 10 to 12 points a game, because they already have that in the pieces surrounding that one lone wing spot there at the 2 or the 3. And if you combine that again with potentially what Miller Kopp could be, what he's shown to be in the past, then I think you still have a really good foundation there on the perimeter, and you get better defensively, which I know a lot of people, just like you said, don't want to talk about the defensive end of the floor. But if you lose Trace Jackson Davis, you need to get a lot better defensively on the wing, because you're losing 3 blocks a game. And even if he didn't block those shots, he was impacting so much at the rim that masked a lot of those holes that Indiana had on the perimeter. So I think either way, whichever guard you add there, you're still going to be making yourself significantly better than a year ago. And obviously a large part of that has to do with also getting Malik Renaud just a few days ago as well. So the pieces are really starting to come together for Indiana next year. And I don't think you can really say you're in a lose situation, whatever way Indiana decides to go, or whatever way these guards decide to go.
Yeah. And as I look down at the potential roster for next year, let's say Dexter Dennis or Sean McNeil come here. Well, someone still has to, and Trace Jackson Davis stays. I know you don't think that that's a possibility, but I still think that it is. I think it's a great possibility that Trace Jackson Davis is here, first of all, before either other two are. But if that happens and one of those 2 guys end up at Indiana as well, that means someone has to move off of the scholarship line. And there are ways to do that now, much easier ways to do that. Like I could see an Anthony Leal stepping down for a season to become a walk-on, but receiving NIL money to offset any scholarship deficiency or any deficiencies like that. and that is a perfectly legal way for them to maneuver that way, where he remains on the team, doesn't lose anything per se, really, because he's not going to get any minutes. Let's be honest. Neither is Logan Duncombe, because if that were to happen, and I look down this roster, and let's say you've got Sean McNeil instead of Dennis. Well, you would have Trace Jackson Davis, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Xavier Johnson starting for certain. Probably Sean McNeil, maybe at the I don't know, but you still have Miller Kopp, Malik Rayneau, Jordan Geronimo, Trey Galloway, Race Thompson, and Tamar Bates. This is that would be a 9 to 10 man rotation that most teams, very few, if any teams, have that in college basketball. But that's something that what he tried to do last year. He would be closer to being able to do that with this kind of rotation setup, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at what the main thing he said last year of why he wasn't comfortable going 9 or 10 deep consistently is because of that inconsistent play that bench had and that rotation had. And really, outside of Trace Jackson Davis, Race Thompson, Trey Galloway when he was in there, and then Xavier Johnson towards the end of the season, you really had no true consistent minutes from anyone else on the roster there. Talent-wise, just going down that list, that roster is light years above what it was this past year if all those pieces fall into place. But yeah, it goes back to having that one lingering issue, which is a huge issue, is the scholarship availability there. I don't. A lot of people talking about Miller Kopp that they're not going to push Miller Kopp out because there's a reason he's still on the roster as of today. There's a reason that Mike Woodson went out and got him. And it just didn't mesh with Miller Kopp and Parker Stewart, two very similar players. And if
he wouldn't
none of those,
he's not going to leave because you mentioned earlier about he's already burned his transfer and he just wants to get his degree and be done because I don't see a future in pro ball for him.
Well, yeah, and that's why that it's not going to be the case with him. And a lot of people kind of rip on the way that he played last year, but I think. I've said this before, separating Miller Kopp and Parker Stewart and now having just one of those guys on the floor is going to vastly improve, I think, Miller Kopp's game this year. So then it goes down to potentially, right, and I hate to talk about guys losing their scholarships or getting pushed out, but you go down the list to Anthony Leal, like you said, or even Logan Duncombe. Don't see Logan Duncombe happening because there's a reason he was still, rated as a 4-star center, as a top 70 guy in the country. He's super young for his age, so he just needs to continue to build there. And he's a guy who's going to be a very consistent big man in the upper classman years as a junior and senior. So you don't want to lose him because then that just sets you back. Even if Trace Jackson Davis does come back, because then you're stuck with just one rotational player for the 2023 class, and so you don't want to do that. And so you look at a guy like Anthony Leal, right, who, I don't think that the coaching staff would approach it in a way of, hey, would you do this for us? I think they would really try to feel him out and 100% make this his decision. At the end of the day, I don't think Anthony Leal could be liked any more than what he is right now by the local fan base. But if he were to do this, that he would, no matter how many minutes he played for his Indiana career, right? I think he'd be able to walk around town and never be able to have to buy a drink or a meal ever again in his life. But at the same time, he still
especially if it brings back that glory that much sooner.
Yeah, and he's still a guy that I think, again, a reason why he saw some minutes throughout last season in crucial games because there's still part of him that could help this team in the long run. It's just not right now. And so there's still, like I said, a lot of different moving pieces that a lot of good situations that could potentially happen. But, it all starts with which one of these two guards, if they do want to come, which one commits first. And then you kind of play a wait and see game with Trace Jackson Davis.
Yeah. And this is an opportunity for Indiana to pull an Iowa State in essence. Iowa State, I talk about them a lot. They were 2-22 last season, but with the portal, they were able to just completely revamp their team. Indiana has not had to do that fortunately. But this could be a situation where Indiana takes a substantial jump, but it's with the right player. And I still think that I'm not the coach, but I think that you need a McNeil. You just have to have offense and scoring. I saw someone earlier put up, with Race Trace and whomever, Indiana can beat teams 55 to 51. And that's been a problem for the Big Ten. You can't succeed outside of the Big Ten playing like that. Indiana had a ton of games like that this year because they were defensive heavy, and that's great. Defense wins championships in every sport, but you got to have the offense to go with it, especially in college basketball. And I think we saw that with the other teams that went forward. Indiana they can succeed greatly in the Big Ten, being a defensively minded only team. But to succeed outside of the conference, they're going to have some flair, some offense, some three-point shooting, the ability to guys to get to the rim and make their own shots. And that's where they just have to improve, because competing inside of the Big Ten, that's what Purdue does. They compete inside the Big Ten, and then that's it.
Well, that's what the whole Big Ten, that's what the whole conference does. Right? We've talked about it, many, many times now. Just the style of play is probably 3 to 5 years behind what some of these other teams are doing out in the Big 12 and the ACC, especially with Carolina being that last lone team in the ACC to play the two traditional big guys, and then they switched that up with Hubert Davis. So in the SEC as well, right, with stretch fours, super athletic wings, guys who can play 1 through 4 all over the floor. And that's what Indiana's not had. That's what Mike Woodson is trying to do, because that's the modern game of basketball. And coming from the NBA, that's what you need to do in order to be successful. And at the end of the day, right, Mike Woodson's going to do whatever he thinks is necessary to improve the roster from the year before. And if that is getting a Dexter Dennis, right, I think at the end of the day, you need to be extremely happy in that, knowing that, one, if Mike Woodson, who has a pretty good track record up to this point in recruiting and in kind of building a roster in a very short period of time, that you need to trust what he sees in Dexter Dennis and be able to be extremely happy with that addition. Because again, there's a reason the defending national championship team in Kansas is talking to Dexter Dennis. If they didn't see any need for him, they wouldn't be talking to him. So if a team like Kansas is extremely interested in potentially trying to get involved in this recruitment of Dennis, then as an Indiana fan, you have to be extremely happy and really look forward to having him on the roster if that's the move he ends up making. But when it comes to Sean McNeil, right, I mean, I think the biggest thing is what role is he going to want to play, right? Because if Trace Jackson Davis doesn't come back, obviously those are more shots for McNeil, a guy who, again, has been a double-digit scorer the last 2 years, can shoot the lights out of the ball. But there still has to be a very specific role for him if Trace Jackson Davis does come back. And he's a guy who really started to play with the ball in his hands a lot more over the last year at West Virginia. You already have two guys who can now create shots for teammates with Xavier Johnson, assuming he plays the way that he did in the last month or so of the season. And then a guy like Jalen Hood-Schifino who can come in and create off of the dribble. So right there, you kind of eliminate the need for having multiple different playmakers on the wing who can put the ball on the floor. You still want to have that, but at the end of the day, that kind of eliminates a little bit of that need. So again, it's going to all come down to specific role for McNeil and Dexter Dennis. And at this point, Dexter Dennis doesn't have any more visits set up. He just came off of his Clemson visit. So we'll see kind of what happens with that in the next, couple of days here. But if he doesn't set up any more visits, I think Indiana is pushing hard enough to get a commitment from him that I think Indiana would probably have the leg up there. Obviously still a lot to play out, but I think that's kind of more the route as of now. And if he wanted to commit today, they would probably take him. And that's just how recruiting goes, right? Whoever kind of takes up that spot first tends to win in the long run. So it may just come down to which one of those two, McNeil or Dennis, if they both want to come to IU, which one commits first.
Tony asks, why would Leo or anyone else agree to that? What we were talking about earlier, giving up your scholarship, spend NIL money, lose what advantages you get being a scholarship player over a walk-on and remain buried on the bench, might as well transfer. Well, I mentioned Anthony Leo because he's from Bloomington. He is probably starting to realize his potential for minutes have really already waned, and probably not going to get better until maybe later in his career where he can develop more so, because they're not going to stop recruiting. And they're not going to stop recruiting over people. But let's see, some of Jennifer mentioned his mom works at IU. But again, you do it because it made the team better. That's why it makes the team more successful, and you're still a part of that. That's why I would see it. He's not going to be losing much. You get the NIL money to replace it. That's just an idea that I see as a potential path, because there is no other path without if Trace Jackson Davis stays, unless someone just simply leaves. And I don't see that now this late, personally.
Yeah, and again, they only have a week to do so if they're going to do that. And Trace Jackson Davis's decision is going to last longer than a week. So I think, especially if you hit kind of Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, even maybe Thursday, you'll feel pretty confident if no one else kind of makes a decision here for Indiana. But I think the roster's pretty intact at this point. We'll obviously things can happen, things change in the matter of seconds when it comes to recruiting and when it comes to college basketball. But when it just last point kind of on Anthony Leo, this is a situation where it has to come strictly from him. The coaches can't force him to do this just because regardless of the rules, right? If you were to try to take a Indiana Mr. Basketball, a guy who has been Bloomington through and through for his entire life, and try to take him off scholarship, that would not only just ruin the entire fan base, mood, but also just the recruiting ties in state that Mike Woodson has tried to kind of repair as well. So
I assure you, they would do it in the correct manner to where he appears very happy. But again, this is just an option that I've thrown out there. I'm not saying this is even going to happen. Trace Jackson Davis could leave. I don't see that happening. And if he doesn't leave, I think that even though they have him here, where we got to take a break, McNeil would probably be the better fit with him here. I'm still wouldn't be surprised to see Dexter Dennis become the guy regardless. Hey, we got to take a quick break. We've got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com is with us right now. We're back with more, brought to you by Cabello, right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington, we talked earlier this week, Alec, about Antoine Davis, Mike Davis.
Who's he visiting?
I just visited Maryland. I think he either has already or will visit Georgetown. A bunch of schools it was crazy. Everyone in the world reached out to him, including Purdue.
Except for Indiana.
Kentucky did.
Except for Indiana.
Yeah.
Do you think that has to do with Mike Woodson's, and you are not probably old enough, but Mike Woodson's loyalty to Bob Knight over the Mike Davis, because the minute he replaced Bob Knight, he became enemy number one to Bob Knight. Anybody that was involved in that stayed at IU was enemy number one.
I just don't think he wanted to put the pressure on him to come to Indiana. Right.
He said he would love it for him to come here. I don't know that he would have fit in, because he's had the green light his entire career, and that would not work in this offense.
Well, no, that's why you're.
Guy, I bet.
Yeah, that's why you're looking at different style of players than super trigger happy players. But yeah, I mean, he's great player. Should be fun to watch wherever he lands. Would be cool to see him at a Big Ten program and come back to play in Assembly Hall. That'd be cool. Just I think for him too.
30.
And yeah, and so that'd be fun. But yeah, I don't think it was ever a fit for Indiana.
Which is disappointing because he really is the kind of player that they could use. But at the same time, I get what you're saying too, because there's too many other options for Indiana that with his skill set he needs.
One of the things I want to talk about is Indiana's recruiting approach is staying almost strictly national.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's how Tom Crean did it, except he wasn't as good as Mike Woodson, I would say.
Tom Crean did it after he burned the bridges in Indiana, and he could no longer get Indiana people.
Yeah.
And then he had no choice. Then Archie Miller could only get people from Indiana because nobody outside of the state would come here and
5 seconds
for him.
Now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It's a Funky Friday, baby. Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com is with me. Make sure you give him a follow at Al Lasley on Twitter to keep up with everything IU sports, and go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free to stay up on what is going on. This weekend, the recruiting back at it in action, Alec, up in Indianapolis, the Indianapolis area, Carmel and Finch Creek. There are 2 events going on. Who are some of the guys that'll be in action?
Yeah, so it's 2 weeks ago we had Adidas and Under Armour up here, two great events that weekend. To this weekend starting tonight, it's Nike EYBL. So kind of first chance a lot of the indie people will get to see a lot of these guys play, because typically they stay away from more of the Midwestern areas. But yeah, you get Arrington Page, Georgia 2023 forward, who Indiana's been kind of early on and pretty involved with since they offered about a month ago. You have Liam McNeely, a new 2024 guy who's one of the top players in the class, if not the entire country at this point, with his ability to create. They offered him at the last live evaluation period. You got guys like KJ Evans, Cohen Carr, who typically would be playing, probably the top target for Indiana in the 2023 class at this point. Still suffering with a broken finger, so it doesn't look like he's going to be playing again. But yeah, in total, you probably have 10, 15 really strong Indiana targets there. Some younger guys too, Jalen Harrelson and Trent Sicily from the in-state area playing for Indy Heat. So you got all age groups, a ton of talent that'll be there, and a lot of fun here for especially the assistants like Yazir Rosemond, who will most likely be staying in the Indy area for most of this weekend, since a lot of these guys who he's been targeting play on the Nike EYBL circuit. So instead of him traveling this week, he'll probably get to stay a little bit closer to home.
KJ Evans, another Montverde player. I think Indiana can pretty much write him off. From what I've understood, they don't really have a shot at him. And I can't see 3 guys off the same high school coming to the same team on top of that. Cohen Carr, of course, it's sad we're not going to get to see him play. I know that they're in on him pretty good. Don't know where that is at the moment, but Trent Sicily is a name that comes up because I'm wondering, is he going to be the first guy that they can recruit organically from within the state and land? Because they have the recruiting has taken such a national turn, for one thing, because of immediacy, of immediate needs and getting the best at those needs. And I understand it completely. And it's going to take a while to rotate. It's like everything. You got to rotate things in, and people are used to seeing Indiana guys on the Indiana Hoosiers team, and there's very few on there. Of course, Trace Jackson Davis, but it's just such a more of a national look, which is fine. That's the Kentuckys and the Dukes and the Kansases. I think as long as you have a Trace Jackson Davis mixed in there, who is a homegrown talent, people are going to be more than happy. As long as they're winning, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's the thing. As long as they're winning, it shouldn't matter where they're getting kids from. And I think what Mike Woodson is now going to be able to do, right, is with his track record in 14 short months here, he's been able to land almost any kid that he's really touched and that he's really tried to recruit pretty hard. Whether it's the first time around or the second time around with a guy like Tamar Bates last year, and then a guy like Malik Renault this offseason. But nationally, in being able to recruit from anywhere is how you build a program. Indiana's is not had the best in-state talent, I would say, over the last few seasons from top to bottom. And when you look at that, it's great to build from locally grown prospects, but at the end of the day, you need to be able to get guys who can come in and compete and play immediately. And some of those guys, unfortunately, just aren't going to be those guys who play at the local high schools anymore. They're going to be guys who play at these major prep schools like a Jalen Hood-Schifino or like a Malik Renault, who go and play against the top 20 players in the country every single night and are ready to come in and compete right away. And that's why when you look at these guys, not saying that you need to build a program like a Duke or a Kentucky, because at the end of the day, that hasn't worked. And you count the national championships they've won since the one and done era has started, and they're not one of the top teams in that category. So you still need guys who you can throw in there for 3 to 4 years, but you still need the instant impact freshmen that you're going to get from a national spotlight and a nationally recruited prospect. And not some of the locally grown kids, because unfortunately, those guys who stay in state tend to leave come their junior, senior season and go play elsewhere. And that's what you look at what Archie Miller really struggled with is kind of what you pointed out. He obviously did a phenomenal job recruiting in the state, but once those kids left to go to a prep school, whether it was in the state or out of state, he just wasn't able to have those ties. And that's something that Mike Woodson and the staff currently has been building. And that's why you look at them and you look at them in these nationally recruited prospects recruitments, and they have as good of a chance as anyone because they have those ties. Mike Woodson seems to know someone in every circle. And so when you have that, it's very easy to kind of pick and choose who you want, but also allows you to say, hey, maybe I'm going to wait a little bit on this in-state kid. And if some of the other ones fall through, I know what I'm building is good enough where even if I'm one of the last teams to come into this local recruitment, I still have now the pull of Indiana being, at least on the upward trajectory and saying, hey, you need to come and be a part of this. And so he has 2 great recruiting pitches that Indiana's not had in a very long time.
Yeah, and remember, he was part of the Indiana teams that were built on Indiana players, so he knows what that's like. But he was not brought here to build a program built on Indiana players. He was brought here to win, period, end of story. And whatever path that takes. Now, obviously, Indiana being a state that produces more talent per capita than any place else, you're going to have plenty of that here. You look at Purdue's roster, they're loaded with it, but it also has to be right timing wise. That's why I'm wondering, is Trent Sisley going to be the first guy that they can organically recruit into the rotation? Well, it depends on what's available then and what the needs are then entirely. And we can go back to this Anthony Lill conversation. Tony asking again, are we talking about asking a player to remain as a walk-on on a 14, 15-man roster? Does any coach use their 12th or 15th man regularly? No, but he's not getting any playing time. He's not going to get any playing time was my point with the guys that are coming in. So that's why you can make that ask. Simply they ask, and that's it. But I think that I could see someone doing that, knowing that they're not going to get to play this year. They want to stay here. They want to play at Indiana University. They don't want to go someplace else. they're from Bloomington. Their parent or mom works here. Their parent works here. So I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, you always have guys at the end that just aren't playing. The 11th, 12th, 13th guy, they're not getting into the games. I mean, when does that happen? It doesn't. If they're getting into the games, the walk-ons are getting into the games. And we're only suggesting this as a way to make room to make the team better. He's not going to lose anything because NIL can make up the scholarship money. And again, that's just a suggestion that I've made, that a potential possibility if Trace Jackson Davis stays. So who knows? It may not, but I'm glad it created the discussion because I'm surprised to see the differences of opinions on it, but I welcome it. It's fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think, again, we've touched, a lot on Anthony Leal on the show, and, who knows what's going to happen. I think like I said, and like we've said, Mike Woodson's going to, do what's best for this program. And if that's what he thinks is best, then I think you have to, follow him, because he's at least shown that what he does right now is working. But to go back to, Andy's comment on the right here, there's a reason why a guy like a Jalen Harrelson or Trent Sicily have been offered, because you look at the last few classes, 2022, 2023, and even 2024, those classes, like you said, are all not up to the normal kind of high power recruiting classes that you typically see in the state of Indiana, going back, to the mid 2000s and going into kind of the mid 2010s here. But the last few years have been down. The next few years are going to be down. But there's a reason they've offered both of these kids in 2025, basically before they already played a second of high school basketball. And it's shown already that those guys are going to be high major talents. Now, where they fall in the rankings, right? They're freshmen. They're really just kind of getting their recruitments going. But those recruitments are probably going to be both pretty nationally recognized, and they got involved in both of those pretty early on. So they're laying the groundwork, and that's all you can ask for a staff to do this far in advance with some of these younger guys. But they recognize the talent in the state. I think Mike Woodson recognizes it more than anyone, but he also knows that he doesn't need to rely on those guys. And that's why you see not a lot of offers going out to a lot of local prospects in these kind of 2022 to 2024 classes in the state up to this point, just because, he's going outwardly and knowing that he needs to refuel and kind of replenish some of the talent that's going to be gone in the next 2 years with guys who can come in and make an instant impact. And that's just not what you're going to get with a lot of these classes here in state.
And, Anthony Leal, again, just as an example, he could actually make money on that deal. If he said, all right, give me the full amount of a tuition. Well, being the dependent of an IU employee, he is entitled to a tuition benefit consisting of 1/2 of the resident undergraduate tuition rate. So it's just a way of doing things, people. It's a way of making things happen. That's why. And someone mentioned, don't let the player make the decision, Doc Bob, or don't offer them the scholarship in the first place. Well, Mike Woodson didn't offer him the scholarship in the first place. That's another thing you have to realize. He did not recruit him. So just, again, this is just ideas. I'm not suggesting that he should leave or any of that. It's just a suggestion. But they'll have to do something, because they're wanting to get to this place sooner rather than later, Alec. And by this place, I mean competing for a Big Ten championship and on the national stage.
And that's why they're going after a lot of the top talent. All right. Again, that just goes back to, Mike Woodson knowing how to put together a roster and knowing how to do it in a very timely manner. Right. You look at what he did, and I think he basically gained an extra year back of trying to rebuild this program, of what he did in the first month on the job last year when he got the head coaching position. And a lot of that has to do with going out and not only securing commitments from, the guys, or getting the guys on the roster back from the portal, but doing a really good job of trusting his assistant coaches to extend offers early without seeing some of these kids. And now you look at a guy like a Cohen Carr, or, we even go to like a Gabe Cupps or Ja'Kai Newton, right? When they get involved in these recruitments early on, one, they do a phenomenal job of building that relationship, but Mike Woodson's now a lot more involved in the recruitments of these kids, something that Archie Miller was not. And that's why Indiana lost a lot of those recruitments late, even though they were involved till the very end. But Mike Woodson knows how to kind of space out these recruitments, knows what kids to go after, knows how to build a program. You talk about the lack of true college recruiting that he had coming back to IU from the NBA, but it's almost way more difficult to kind of put together a roster in the NBA when you have millions and millions of dollars. You have agents involved. You have different free agency. You have you have basically a full budget, kind of like you do with the scholarship limit. But at the same time, it's way more difficult, I think, to recruit in the NBA when you're trying to recruit grown men to come play for you than it is when you're trying to recruit 16, 17 year old kids who one, love playing the game at that point and want to just continue to win and get to the next level. And I think Mike Woodson, again, has shown that he can connect on any single level that he really wants, and has shown an ability to do that, whether it's locally or nationally.
So all of this talk that we've talked, I know last time, do you still think that Trace Jackson Davis is leaving?
I mean, is it fully possible for him to come back? Absolutely. I still think at this point I'm leaning on the side of him not returning. But again, I think there's still a long ways to go in him making a decision, right? He's gonna most likely be invited, I would assume, to the combine and be able to go through any sort of testing there and be able to match up against a lot of these guys who will go in the lottery or will go in the first round. And it'll be a time for him to really show kind of how he's improved over the last month and a half of training on his own and really training to be a pro. So, I think there's still a long time to go in this one, but at the end of the day, I think he's going to move on. But I say that with, a little bit of reservation because there's still a great possibility that he would return, but I just don't know if I see it happening.
Well, we'll certainly see. The Hoosier.com is going to be on it, what's going on this weekend in both locations with the players the Indiana is targeting that we spoke about earlier on the Nike EYBL at both Finch Creek and the Pacers Center going on this weekend. So make sure you go to the Hoosier.com and follow all of what's going on there. Give Alec a follow on Twitter at Al Lasley as well. Sir, I cannot thank you enough. Anything else that I missed?
No, that's we'll obviously see what happens with these two visits, and we'll have
Eric Hunter. Eric Hunter in the portal. Any surprise there?
No, I mean Purdue's lost a lot of guards here this offseason. It'll be interesting to see what happens, right? I still think they end up landing Nigel Pack, but I think Purdue's going to have a little bit of a down year next year. Just losing what they've lost, and you just don't think Zach Edey is really cut out to be the go-to big in that offense. So we'll see what happens with Purdue, but not too much of a surprise for me.
Yep, and that'll be even more disappointing for Purdue fans because of what happened this year. I mean, seriously, that's got to be just utterly disappointing. And then if they follow up with a down year next year. But thanks a lot, brother. I appreciate you.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
You betcha. Alec Lasley joining us from thehoosier.com. Like I said, make sure you go there this weekend and keep up with everything that is going on the recruiting trail. They'll have live updates on what's going on from both locations. And you can do that for free. Go there to thehoosier.com, like I said. We got more coming up. Zach Osterman from the Indy Star is going to join us. We're brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're in the home or I can never get that straight, in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want and not. Reach out to Cheryl.
Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda.
Zach is going to be a few minutes late.
Cool.
But he had some stuff come up, but he said he'll be on probably around 9:40-ish. So we won't have him for too long, but that's okay. He's got a baby to take care of.
Yes. Oh my God.
We won't. Oh, I was gonna say we won't take a break when he shows up. We'll just invite him right in. We won't stop mid-segment to break again. Hey, by the way, have you had a chance to listen to those ads I sent you? I sent them 2 days ago, I think.
I did. I forwarded the one on to
The
get
G7.
approval. Yes.
I guess they didn't say anything yet.
No, I just sent it yesterday.
Oh, okay. And for these next two segments, not including the one we're about to do, we'll have to make sure, or I guess including the one we're about to do, just make sure we're going to have to be out on time for each of them, because we'll have Jeff for a few minutes, and then we'll have to make sure we get him out on time so we can have Maurice Creek and the Joey guy for their full time as we finish up. They are, I mean, obviously I sent them the email, but they confirmed that they're coming on, right? That's the time they gave you, I assume.
What time?
10:10.
I'll text them both right now.
Okay. Make sure they got the email. I sent it to both of them.
Damn it. My text to you didn't go through.
What'd you send me? I got something from you earlier.
About those?
I got something from you about them earlier.
Yeah,
today.
it did go through. It just was still sitting there. Did you see who Jerry Sichting was?
Joey Sichting?
No, Jerry.
It says Joey.
Well, that's the guy
there two
coming
of them?
on. No, did you see who Jerry? Did you read the text? I said Google Jerry.
See, my brain didn't register that. No. Do I need to Google that right now, I guess?
Well, no, just for you to know.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was.
I'll check it out when we come back from break. I didn't realize. See, when I thought, I just didn't notice. Here we go.
At IndyHomePros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, welcome back. It is Friday here at Indiana Sports Beat Radio, Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Speaking of Courtroom Sports Grill, the 4th annual Crawfest, sponsored by Courtroom Sports Grill, is back. Join us at the annual Crawfest, May 13th and 14th at the Harp Commons in downtown Bedford. This year's event, headlined by country superstar Hoosier native Clayton Anderson. They're planning for that to be the biggest, Bedford's biggest crawfish event ever, with the biggest crawfish boil around, complete with a beer garden stocked with local craft brews, live music Friday and Saturday, fun for the entire family, all you can eat, great music, beautiful spring Southern Indiana night. You can go to the Courtroom Sports Grill Facebook page for more information, the cost and all that stuff of when you can get that. But man, that's looking to be a fun deal. I'm looking forward to that. All brought to you by, of course, like I said, the Courtroom Sports Room. I don't have that one up here, do I? I'll be damned. There it is. Yeah. The Courtroom Sports Grill there in Bedford. So looking forward to that, John Boy. Also, golfing, if you're a golfer, Jordan Hall's golfing event, back on the schedule after a couple of years of missing. Never Lose Hoop golf outing coming up June 23rd here at the Golf Club at Eagle Point. You can put yourself a team together. All benefits go to Never Lose Hoop. So that is a positive thing. We're working on getting as many IU people out there as possible. It'll be a fun day regardless, and it all benefits area kids with cancer. Jordan Hulls will be back, and looking forward to that. So big time. You can go. You can see right there. I've got to get that up on the Hoosier.com yet. I have not done that. But there is a spot that shows you where you can register. If you can't play and you still want to participate, you can still go into that registration spot, and there's an area where you can donate. And for those that donate $100 or more, I'm gonna think of something special. Like I said, if you want to be a whole sponsor, well, you can have your own whole sponsorship that says Forrest wishes everybody good luck today, and we'll get a picture of Jordan and the guys next to the picture and send it to you. Something cool.
That reminds me of something that I want to share real quick. I was at a Louisville Bats baseball game about 2 weeks ago, and up on the video board, somebody had paid to put this message up there and said, "Congratulations, Bobby, on your divorce." That was really funny.
That is pretty funny. I guess that came from a friend.
Hopefully.
Or the ex-wife. Not sure.
Which would be really funny.
The conversation has been relating to whether or not Trayce Jackson-Davis comes back as we get closer. Jason says he doesn't think Trayce Jackson gets as much as Oscar did from UK. Of course not. He also thinks Oscar coming back moves Trayce up. Well, yeah, you could say that, but does it move him up enough? He could see him leaving, especially if the Pacers go after him. Yeah, no. Balin TJD will be back. He's already established himself in the program with the talent coming in. He'll have some help here on the college level. NIL obviously is a big factor too, but he has a chance to make a conference and tournament run. I agree with that. And more importantly, with Kofi Coburn and Jaden Ivey and Johnny Davis and names like that leaving the Big Ten, something else you haven't thought about is Trayce Jackson-Davis would be in probably prime position to be Big Ten Player of the Year. There's that. I mean, there's no way that is not weighing heavily on him, knowing that, man, this next journey is very, very tricky. If I stay here one more year, it's solid. I'm going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm possibly going to be the Big Ten Player of the Year. And who knows what can happen with his team. This one's strictly gut. Like I said, the other stuff I kind of know, but if it's just a gut, I'm going to tell you, this is just a gut. I see him back here. I just don't, because I don't see the path as well as it already is. And especially when, but why Sheboy's coming back because, he got talked into it with a $2 million NIL deal. Although he could have possibly made more money than that in the NBA.
Let me ask you this. I know you said Sheboy makes it easier for Trayce Jackson-Davis to come back, but that's also one less big guy to be taken ahead of you in the draft, which I think would make it easier for him to stay. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. Well, I read a comment that said that and was responding to that. But does it move him up one spot? How far up does it move him up? I mean, I don't know that. Can you compare Trayce Jackson-Davis to Oscar Sheboy? He was the National Player of the Year. National Player of the Year. So that says a lot on a team that didn't make the Final Four, and he's coming back. So I don't know. That's just my take is my take. doesn't mean jack squat. And I'm okay with that. But that's the way it is. Let's see. A repeat of this year's stats output for Trace Jackson Davis. He would be third all-time scorer at IU, first in rebounds and blocks. Legacy, people. That's a legacy right there. I mean, he's not going to catch Calbert Chaney. He's not going to catch Steve Alford. But that is a legacy right there. Third, first. That's a future Hall of Fame, Indiana Athletics Hall of Famer. No question. But does he want to put a stamp on that? I mean, they talk about being the guy that helped brings the program back. He can actually be that guy. Because next year could be that year. That's another thing that's probably weighing on him. I don't mean weighing on him, but it is part of the equation of his decision making. But Balin says there's more talented players in the draft other than Oscar. Him pulling out the players' stocks moved not just up TJD. You have to be realistic. Mike says if TJD comes back, has a shooter, which lets him actually be a better scorer, wins Conference Player of the Year, and then wins. Yeah, I agree with that. I think he can look a lot better than he did this year if he had more help. He didn't have that wing help. It would just make this team better overall. It would take pressure off of him. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him loosen up and start hitting some 5 and 6 foot jump shots once that pressure is relieved. But everything is on him down on the block for Indiana. He's had to be the guy along with Race, but I think that normally I'm not about raising people's stock because I say if the NBA says you're ready, you're ready. I don't know that the NBA is saying he's ready, though. That's my question. Kenneth says there will also be some currently lesser known foreign guys that are going to show up in the draft. Yeah, but they're on the board. These draft guys know who's coming and who's not. Jared says Oscar wasn't projected as a first round pick, which is why he's not returning. Exactly. $2 million in 1 year at UK is more than a second rounder rookie contract for a year. There you go. Trace Jackson Davis is not projected as a first round pick. He's not going to get $2 million to come back, though. I don't know what his final number will be, but I would not be shocked at all if it is up close to 7 figures total. I mean, he's got stuff coming in, not just from Hoosiers for Good, or won't have them just from Hoosiers for Good, but he already had deals going on with a bank and some other things. So he probably currently has more deals than a lot of NBA guys. And that's not a joke. Let's say the bank thing, that's something that would probably continue if he were to become a professional player and follow him. So that's something he can take with him. It doesn't need the money. It's just, is it better to come out for him this year or next year? I just don't see the path this year, but that's just me.
Break.
We got to take a break. When we come back, is it time for,
Jeffrey
hopefully
the
we're
Greek.
going Jeffrey the Greek. All right. And then after that, we'll get Mo and Joey on as well. Looking forward to finishing up another great day. I hope you're with us through it all. Brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore Honda and Courtroom Sports Grill. Courtroom Sports Grill prides itself on providing their guests with fresh, innovative dishes designed to please your palate as well as your wallet. Every item on their menu is made from scratch using only the freshest ingredients. It's a great place to catch a game or just meet up with a friend. we'll see you in the dining room because we'll guarantee you'll like it. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington.
What's up, Mr. Greek?
Man, did you guys like change up the camera or something? Jim, you look like sharp today.
No, my camera is always like this. It's the background, probably.
The background probably brings it out a little better, I would say.
I don't know. I can like see the pupils of your beautiful blue eyes today, like never before.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm having a great day. How are you guys?
Awesome. Well, it just got better for us.
Good. Other than the fact that you're kicking me off the last segment because you got somebody more important, but it's okay. I'll persevere.
Actually, I was going to say he should stick around. He'll be fun. He'll add fun to it.
No, that's fine. I got plenty of shit to do.
If it was a football guest, I would understand it, but it's a basketball guest.
Yeah.
I know how Jeff feels about basketball.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like basketball. Luckily, I'm not a diehard Timberwolves fan. Oof.
We're going to be talking with somebody playing for the Timber Jacks. Or Timber Jacks.
Better to be a Timber Jack than a Timber Wolf right now.
John, what is a link that I can send to the Timber Jacks people? Not to be on the show, but just to watch.
Tell them to go. If they have Twitter, tell them to go to your Twitter and just look on there. Because the link is posted on that on one of those tweets from this morning.
Okay, but so then everybody would have to have Twitter that they repost that to.
Okay, then let me read you the URL if you don't mind. We got a minute if you let me read it to you.
Can you just email it to me?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. I'll do that right now.
I was thinking this morning this segment should be like Triple J or something like that. Jim, John, and Jeff, baby. J cubed.
Yeah, boy. I like it.
All right, Jim. I just emailed it to your Sports Beat account.
Appreciate it. How's your weekend looking, man?
Oh, hold on. That wasn't the right link. Don't use that. That wasn't the right link. Okay. Give me once we get out of this, I will send you the right one. So don't use that first one. I'll send you a second one. That was my bad. Okay. I'll send you the link to the music I'm about ready to play, which is an accident, obviously. So here we go.
Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Woo! Welcome back, John. Getting a little funky with it. Yeah,
slapping the bass,
here, baby.
Slapping the bass.
A little free base Friday. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market and Cellar. Feast Market and Cellar, located next door to Southern Stone Restaurant on Patterson and Rogers, offers an extensive wine selection with a sommelier on staff. They take pairing seriously. Feast also provides a wide variety of cheeses, gourmet sandwiches, entrees, a coffee bar, bread, and pastries, all mouthwatering. Feast Market and Cellar. Welcome aboard, Jeffrey the Greek. How are you, sir?
Oh, I am great. If I were any happier, I'd be twins. One of the best meals I've ever had was suggested by a sommelier at Francesco's in New York City, which I hate to admit was one of the best steaks I ever had. But she paired that steak up with a wine. It was fantastic.
Oh, man, I can eat steak any time of day. I don't care. I could wake up and have it for breakfast, and which I have done many times.
Yeah, there's a reason why steak and eggs is on every breakfast menu.
I don't even need the eggs. I mean, I could have the steak and baked potato again all over at any time. It's as long as it's made well. I grew up with parents who did not have a great palate, let's say. So they're. I remember as a child them ordering steaks medium well, or well done even.
Right.
And I didn't know until later. You learn later in life, and now I'm like, well done. It just makes me. Ugh.
Oh yeah, I have. I think probably it's fair that a lot of kids, younger people eat their steak medium, well, whatever, because the blood freaks them out, And I think I got to like 18 or 19, and that's how I ate my steaks. And I'm at my parents' like home from college, and my dad slaps a medium rare steak on my plate that he grilled, And I'm like, what is this? And he goes, medium rare. It's time you start eating like a man. And I bit into that steak, and I'm like, by God, that's the best steak I ever had. I had no idea that I was eating it wrong all those years.
Yeah, people just look at it like mine is medium rare. It's just my go-to medium rare. Just
yep.
And people look at God, like my mom, she couldn't even stand to look at it.
Really? I mean, if you're in a steakhouse, I got to think 90% of the steaks ordered are going to be ordered medium rare.
Well, my mom also could not take pills like the larger pills.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I could take 5 of them at a time if you need to. You just take a big old drink of water with it.
Yep.
Gigantic drink, and they all go flying down.
You bet.
My daughter is not good at taking pills either. So put this up a minute ago. Ross said saw where Woody sent some autographed candy stripes to Dickie V. Very nice gesture. I would love to see a picture of Dickie V wearing those around, though. That would be great. I'm sure he probably is going to frame them instead. But, yeah, that would be kind of cool to see Dickie V bouncing around in a pair of candy stripes, talking about the basketball warm-ups, of course.
Yep. One of the best traditions in all of sports.
Yeah, and it's funny. Bob Knight started it for basketball, but he stole it from the swimming team, I think.
Really?
They were the originators of the candy stripe warm-ups. I'm pretty positive. But of course, they have become famous by basketball program. But the swim team, don't forget, was phenomenal. We're talking about a swimming program when Bob Knight arrived in 71 that was coming out of the 60s and that had Mark Spitz and all of these.
Spitz. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The Indiana swimming program has long been one of the tops in the country. But pretty positive that came from the swimming team.
Nice. Completely off topic, but and to give the 4-letter network a little bit of props. If you get a chance, or if maybe you've already seen it.
Are you talking about the mothership?
The mothership, correct.
Yeah.
Love their 30 for 30 programs that they put out. Have you watched Shark, the 30 for 30 on Greg?
No, I thought it was going to be on Jerry Tarkanian. I was excited for a second. I was like,
that'd be a good one. That'd be a good one too.
That would be better than. Well, it'd be better than Greg Norman. It's gotta be.
You're killing me here, man. I know you're a golf guy. You gotta watch it.
Oh, they all end up pretty good because you found out stuff you didn't know. There's so many things that always go on behind the scenes at a particular tournament of a particular win. The things that you don't know. That's why I scream it all the time. I'm like, man, I know what I know, but I don't know what I don't know.
Fantastic.
And that goes further down. Not that I know more than everybody else, but there are people that know way more than me and people that know way less than me. It's just the pantheon of life, the hierarchy of life. But
what I always think about is, in the Wayback Machine when I was on the Iowa football team, and I had the ability to kind of hide in the shadows because I didn't exactly look like, a football player. I'm a 6'1" white dude. And I would be sitting in a class or sitting at a bar, and I would hear some dudes next to me talking about the rumors or stuff that they know what's going on within the Iowa football team, and 90% of the time it was completely false and just a complete rumor. And I would just chuckle to myself while they talked about it.
Winning Time on HBO. Yes, I have been watching this.
I got to start watching.
Behind. Oh,
yeah, I got to start watching
pretty
that.
good.
Yeah.
It's been pretty good. But also you can't forget about, if you're going to watch that one, then you have to watch The Righteous Gemstones.
Those are two that I've seen, like, people that I respect suggest over and over. I'm definitely going to watch the Showtime. The Righteous Gemstones is probably up there too.
Oh man, John Goodman. First of all, you already have that, and then Danny McBride. He is this freaking hilarious in everything he's in.
Well, somehow Danny McBride can be Danny McBride in every single role he has, and it works out. It's him, him and Vince Vaughn. They never play any different role, but yet somehow they're funny every time.
You nailed it. Oh my goodness. Yes, because they're so unique.
Yeah.
What's going on with you this week?
Oh man. The parents are coming up this evening. It's the greatest, at this stage, because they have zero interest in your boy Jeffrey the Greek. They just take a quick beeline right to the grandkids. And then me and the missus are going to go out and get proper drunk. And I mean, I can't wait for it, man. This is a great weekend.
Wow. It sounds like you got it lined up, man.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, you were talking about not looking like a football player, and it immediately brought me to something that you posted on your Twitter account. And I wanted to show the Indiana Sports Beat viewers as well. But your senior picture, right? In your Indiana Jones-esque outfit. Is that what this is?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Wait a minute. What is that?
Have him explain.
What am I looking at?
So basically, I can't believe you just did that to me. So it was the original tweet was it was a picture of some girl that she posted from 10-15 years ago about how embarrassing her senior picture was. And then everybody was supposed to reply with their own embarrassing senior picture. So there's mine. So the funny story is I loved Indiana Jones, man. I loved Harrison Ford in all forms. So I used to wear that hat around everywhere. I still do. I still have that hat. And
you can wear it next week on the show.
I could do it if you want me to. So I went to this photographer, and she's used to the boring, picture in front of your school flag and, this, that. And I said, I just want to take one picture with this hat on. And she just went nuts. And next thing I know, I'm out in the field with the coat on in this pose. And we didn't put that picture out, but we saved it just because it was so hilarious. And, 20 some years later, it lives on.
Holy smokes. Wow.
Good pull, John. That was great timing to pull that out.
That is, yeah. I knew nothing about it either, which I love, because I would not have been as
first impressions, Jim. What do you got?
I'm thinking the high school, the Gap commercials, or you trying to do some Banana Republic.
I think it might be worse than all of that.
What? Good eye, mate. I mean, a little good eye, mate.
So you're see, it's funny. So you pull Crocodile Dundee out of it, which was not my intention at all. That's
he's got.
I just need the whip and satchel in my.
Well, he's got the hat that looks like he's in the Outback, but
yeah.
Holy smokes! Well, that was a great unexpected joy that I'll carry with me over the weekend.
So the funny thing is, my wife's buddies, they love that picture. So one of them got married. I wore it to his wedding, and that hat was on 200 people's heads that night, just getting passed around. Did you used to be a lion tamer? I wish.
Halloweeny.
Yeah.
Iowa Greek and the End Zone of Glory. See it all at your local theater. There you go. There's a good one.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Thanks,
holy smokes. Yeah, man. They should just put you in a little corner down in Ames, Iowa, when football season rolls around. You could be the
okay. I got you. Just snap them with the whip. You know what?
It would probably work better if you did it in Indiana to be Indiana Jones, because Indiana Jones doesn't work out very, unless you could be Iowa Jones.
I think the Iowa football team does a good enough job of whipping Iowa State all by themselves every September, so they don't need me.
Yeah, well, I'll let you all have that little rivalry. Hey, speaking of we saw Iowa State this year go from 2-22 the year before to a Sweet 16 basketball team this year because of the transfer portal. Amazing what it's been able to do. And I talk about Indiana football. I think the NIL is going to hurt Indiana football because there's already that separation between Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, and now where they had gotten to a competitive, they were almost level competitive wise with those bottom, not Ohio State, but the other teams. But now, boom, it's NIL is going to create that separation again because Indiana is a basketball school. Those other schools are football schools.
Yeah, the haves and the have-nots, the top echelon, when a new rule change, it always benefits them. Please listen to my podcast, Eyes on Big. Kurt and I started saying that over a year ago. We're both businessmen, and we both said the money will find its way to all the wrong people because that's what happens when power and money the door is open to it. I don't know how people didn't see this coming. We've been saying it for a year. I don't mean to be a haha told you so guy, but haha told you so. We knew this is what was going to happen.
But there's nothing else you can do other than not pay them. I mean, you either pay them or you don't. It's just that simple. And they were able to get away with all those years of not, and now that's over with.
The ketchup's out of the bottle. I'm just saying, I don't know why we needed to squeeze it to begin with. There's other ways we could have done this.
Well, yeah, but that was the NCAA, and by NCAA, I mean all of the institution schools that fought it for so long that they backed themselves into a corner till it was too late. Now 100%. You've screwed yourself where you could have slowly matriculated this thing in a much more organized, easier to manage fashion. And they didn't do that. They waited, like you said, someone came along and stepped on the tube of toothpaste and it all comes flying out at once. Correct. And it's not going back in the tube.
Nope. No, it's not. It's just, and in both cases, it's a mess that's been made. And I don't know who's going to clean it up.
Well, you can clean it up, damn it.
I can try.
I'm not good at that. So what you got going on this weekend, brother?
Yeah, like I said, it's an open weekend for the wife and I. It's not going to be it's not going to be a good weather weekend because that doesn't happen here. Basically, and I think it's been the same way in the upper Midwest. Yesterday was actually 50 some degrees with no wind, and I joked, "Is that it? Is that the best weather day we get all year?" Because now we got rain today, and then tomorrow it warms up and it's thunderstorms.
Well, we're going to finally get some good weather, I think. Little 500 going on here in Bloomington this weekend, world's greatest college weekend. You have to check that out. Okay. There's a movie, Breaking Away, from 79, but you'd enjoy it. So look that up. It gives you something to do this weekend. Watch Breaking Away. Okay. You'd enjoy it.
All right.
Jeffrey the Greek, brother, can't tell you how much I appreciate it as always. We're shortening up today with him because we're going to talk to Mo Creek and Joey Sichting next. So he was kind enough to step aside.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate you, brother, as always. Hey, we got more coming up, as I just said, Mo Creek and Joey Sichting coming up. Brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Feast Market and Cellar, located next to Southern Stone Restaurant on Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington, offers an extensive wine selection with a sommelier on staff as they take pairing seriously. Feast also provides a wide variety of cheeses, gourmet sandwiches, entrees, a coffee bar, bread, and pastries, all mouth-watering. And we're back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting,
love you guys,
buddy,
Jeff.
Buddy, appreciate you, brother.
All right,
see you soon.
All right, have a great weekend.
Hey, you a golfer?
I am.
You ought to come up. You ought to come up for this Jordan Hulse thing in June.
Send the invite. Maybe it'll work out. You never know.
I will do so.
All right, man. See you guys.
See ya.
Donkey Shames.
Joey's here, Jim.
Hey, Joey. I saw him in the green room. How are you, sir?
Oh, you've got your microphone muted, Joey. Go on. See your little your picture on the bottom of the screen. Click unmute right there. I can't do it myself, but you'll have to do it from your end. It's right. So right below the screen, you should see your little square. There we go. We got you.
All
Perfect.
right. Cool beans.
How's Joey today?
Joey's good. Back in Memphis, Tennessee.
Back in Memphis. Good place. I've eaten at the Cattleman.
Yeah.
Is it the Cattleman they call it? It's out there on the east. Maybe I used to compete in team rope and rope a lot.
Oh,
and there was an arena down there that we would rope in, and the Cattleman Steakhouse was right next door to this place.
okay. As the southeast, that's like being in a whole different world. I live close to downtown.
Yeah, I never made it downtown. Regretfully.
You missed the best part.
I know, regretfully. I'm going to come down there when my daughter's at Ole Miss, so
Oh, okay.
come down one weekend and have her meet me up there or something.
Yeah, I got to do Bill Street and hear some good music.
I know, I cannot believe, but man, we're down on them ropings. It's morning to night. And
Yeah, I bet you're a beat.
Hey, Maurice, are you there?
he is, man. Look at him. What's up?
Move! How you doing?
Hey, speaking of Joey, who does your all's? Do you have somebody doing your merchandising?
We do our own. The TBL provides us with a store, and it's through Infinity Apparel. Actually, we don't use them much. Some people can go online and buy their stuff, but we should talk later on, you and I, about your message. So we're happy to do something with you.
Yeah, it's easy. I got a guy that makes it easy.
Okay, cool.
The guy that made these shirts I got from Mo.
All right, well, say one. I want one too.
All right, here we go. Coming back.
We're now a part of the Rivals Network. The Hoosier.com is where you can find complete coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by BB's Market in Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you on this Friday. Man, I am happy because that means we're there. It's time to get rolling. Brought to you by BB's Marketplace. Of course, BB's Marketplace is your local meat shop, steakhouse, and caterer, no matter where you live. With some of the best custom meats around, BB's Marketplace has the largest variety of in-house made products you can find around. You can go online and order that as well. Welcome in Joey Sichting, GM for the Medora Timberjacks and Maurice Creek, new assignee. Guys, how is it? Man, how you doing, Mo?
Doing good. I'm excited to be here. First game today, trying to get a win on the road. It'll be a tough task, still learning, my teammates and how everything works here, but I don't think it'll take me long.
Well, the last we talked, Bo, we were everyone's trying to get you out of Ukraine, and was happy to see that. So now to see you fall into this situation is even greater. Joey Sichting, the GM for the Medora Timberjacks, a part of the basketball league. I wasn't familiar with it. I'm going to be honest with you. 4 teams in this state that are in part of this league. Talked to Joey the other day about that, Joey, but and you guys have had a lot of success down there at Medora.
We have. We've really enjoyed it. Our second year. Last year we played in a kind of a precursor for the TBL. It was called the Hoosier Hardwood Basketball Association, and it was kind of an experiment to see how many teams would be interested in having a pro franchise in the state. And of course, we were right in the middle of COVID, so we ended up, the only gym we could really find that would cooperate was Medora High School. And that's how we ended up in Medora. And that we had such a great following last year. We averaged about 400 or 500 fans a game right in the middle of COVID. And They were such supporters. We decided to name the team after them this year. Last year we were Southern Indiana Timberjacks, and this year we're the Medora Timberjacks.
Very
And
cool.
still got a
Maurice,
great following. Yeah.
How did you get connected with Joey and the Timberjacks?
Well, it was all of them. I didn't know anything about the league at first, and I wanted to get here sooner, but because I was playing overseas, it couldn't happen. Then when I got home, me and my agent were still kind of looking for jobs overseas, but everything was kind of too late. And, I had to take some time off from playing because, of what happened with me in Ukraine and trying to make sure my family and everybody was straight. And, I talked to my mom about it before I signed and asked her, saying, what did she think and how did she feel, because she took it very hard, the most out of everybody, just not being able to sleep and not being able to eat and stuff. And, she said she was ready. And even though when I got on that plane, she did kind of shed a little bit of tears, but it was actually happy tears that, that I'm back to playing and doing what I love to do. And I know she'll be one of my biggest supporters today watching the game.
Well, I'm sure she's a lot happier about you being in Medora, Indiana, than I forget the town you were in over in Ukraine, but Ukraine, where A, you're safe, and B, she can watch you play.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Joey, I'm looking through these teams just in the Midwest Conference, on which you guys are members of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 teams just in your conference, 4 conferences in this league.
Yeah, 44 teams total, and it's very competitive. I think from top to bottom, there's a lot of parity, and every game comes down to the wire. It's really exciting for the fans, for one thing, and of course it's fun for us. Every game's a battle, and we're hoping with the additions we just made with Maurice and have another guy from Ukraine, Rokas Alvidas, and Dylan Coswell. We think we've upgraded our team tremendously, and so we're ready to compete, ready to win.
And one of the things I noticed jumps out at me is that probably make this kind of cool is, all right, in your conference, Cincinnati, Dayton, Detroit, Flint, the All-Americans, which are out of Newcastle, Jamestown, which I'm not sure where they are from, the Kentucky Enforcers, I'm not sure where they're out of in Kentucky someplace, but Owensboro, Kokomo, Lebanon, Medora, those are nice regional rivalries that can be set up, I see.
Absolutely. We do have rivalries. We in Newcastle is one of our main rivals, and really it's very competitive within the state. Lebanon's got a really good program. They do things right up there. They got really good talent. Same for Kokomo. Cliff Livingston's the coach at Kokomo, and he brings a lot of experience in NBA and
former NBA player Cliff Livingston, people.
Correct. And so they're really, really talented. And then there's a lot of Indiana talent on the Newcastle team. Some guys we even went after, and we were unsuccessful. And but we played them tough the first time. We've got 2 more rounds with them. One of them tomorrow night back at Newcastle. Although I believe they're going to play in Anderson, and there's some speculation that they may move the team over to Anderson, Indiana. So that'll be interesting. It'll be our first time up in Anderson to play. And I'm not actually sure where they're playing. I don't know if they're playing in a wigwam or where, but there's a lot of good talent in this league. And, we took 4 months to try to put together a team and really start up from scratch. And it's been a challenge, but it's been a lot of fun. And we've talked to so many players. We brought in about 75 guys in the preseason, worked them out, and got it down to a number that we liked, and brought those guys in for training camp, and put the team together. We have 12 players, and so we've been tweaking since the beginning. Some guys didn't pan out kind of like we thought. Some guys didn't fit in the puzzle like we hoped, and so we've always been on the search for players. And Dylan Coswell was one of our early guys that we brought in, and he ended up going over to Luxembourg to play. And Rokas is Lithuanian, and he was playing in Ukraine as well as Maurice. He got out a little bit earlier than Maurice, though. So we're thrilled to have all three of these guys, and we really think they've taken our program to the next level.
Mo, what's it like just to be playing basketball again? You've got a game tonight, like you said, but just as we look back, how things could have been different and all the stuff that you were going through wasn't that long ago. You're in a damn bomb shelter, not knowing what's happening tonight or tomorrow. But tonight you're going to get to play a basketball game in Indiana. So nice full 180-degree swing there. But what's that feel like?
It just feels great to play again. You know what I'm saying? Doing something that you love is always good, but to be and feel safe again, is like the most important thing for me. And I know these guys are going to take care of me, and I'm going to do everything I can do to, you know what I'm saying, get the job done for these guys and know what it takes. I know this team is, our team is very talented. I can see that just in a couple of days that I've been here. You know, I feel like we're a family already. And we got, you know what I'm saying, guys that want to win. And, you know, I just feel like now that we got the pieces that we got, you know, just see everything come together and get some W's now.
And for those that are listening, Medora High School is kind of centrally located if you're in southern Indiana, south of Indianapolis, because it's kind of in the dead center of the lower half of the state, in essence. It is, about 30 minutes east of Bloomington, thereabouts?
Yeah, it's actually right on Highway 50, almost directly halfway between Seymour and Bedford. We're about 40 miles southeast of Bloomington, so close to Maurice's backyard. I think he actually got up there and got some buffalo wings the other day. We can draw pretty good from both Bedford and Seymour. Brownstown's right next door, maybe 10 minutes away. So, and then, that whole southern part of the state is just basketball fanatics, and it's just been a lot of fun. We try to do a lot of different things during the games, contests and whatnot. So keep everybody engaged and keep everybody fired up about the team.
Yeah. I mean, we're on down in Evansville is one of the places where that's an easy place to get up to. You jump on I-69 and jump on the state highway, but there's so many places where you can draw from, like you said, Seymour and Bedford, southern Indiana, New Albany area, Jeffersonville, Clarksville, Floyd County area, and then in the southeast. I mean, it's just you're just close to a lot of different people, Mo, and that's got to be, what's it like for you, Mo, to get to play in front of Indiana fans again?
It feels great. Right when I got to Bloomington, I was like, wow, it's been years. And just to see how many changes looked on campus and all the new buildings on campus and stuff like that, and to get Buffaloes right off the plane, it felt great. So again, I'm just happy to be in Indiana again. I feel like I'm back home, and now I get to play basketball here again. So this is amazing.
Joey, the Timberjacks, I know the reason for the name, but as goes back to your ownership, but you might want to talk about the origin of the name, the Timberjacks.
Yeah. Land of Indiana is the owner's company. They're a big logging outfit. They sell logs both domestically and internationally. And they're fifth generation loggers. So it was almost a perfect fit to call us the Timberjacks. And, people kind of down in that part of the state where logging is big, it's just been a name that fits and people can relate to for us. But our owner, Larry Moore, has been fantastic. Our main goal is to treat players right and treat them like family and do everything the right way, the best way we can. So that's kind of our philosophy. And, first comes the players, and we try to take the best care of them we can. We provide their housing, pay all their bills. We actually have our own team plane that we can fly to some of the further away games with. So it's been a great fit. Larry's 100% behind the team, and we're just thrilled to have him and the whole organization that we built around the Timberjacks has been really great. We've got some top-notch folks that have learned. We all learning as we go too. Being the first year in the TBL.
Is he from the Southern Indiana area originally?
He is. He coached high school basketball for years in Indiana, over in Sullivan and Covington, and ended up in Martinsville for a while. His son, Mark Morin, who's also our coach, he was a high school standout. He actually broke my brother's scoring record at Martinsville, which is kind of cool. And he and I and Larry, we've known each other since Mark and I were about 18 years old. So we've got a lot of history. Mark and I were more like brothers than friends, and it's just been a great situation. We can yell at each other and not get mad and all that good stuff.
I was asking because the Indiana's women's basketball coach is Terry Morin, and she's also from that area. So I'm guessing there has to be a relationship.
There may be. I'm not quite sure on that one, but I know there's.
You have to dig into that because she went to Seymour High School.
Okay, has to be then somehow. Yeah.
So just kind of thinking that. You mentioned your brother Jerry. If you're a basketball fan at all, you know that name, Jerry Sichting, as well. Prolific player in Indiana. You just mentioned he had a scoring record at Martinsville, of course, home of previous home of John, that guy that coached out in UCLA. He kind of won a title or two. But Jerry was also went to Purdue, played in the NBA. I think he does some consulting for you guys.
He does a little bit. He came up last year and spoke to the team and attended the game. And one of the best compliments we've got was when we were done, he came up to me and he said, "This is 100 times better than I ever thought it'd be." He said, "You guys got some real talent here, and we've just upgraded from last year tremendously." So we're hoping to get him back, but he's helped us with some offense and defensive sets, some pro stuff that we're learning, and been a great help to us.
Mo, we've gotten to see, the only time we really get to see Mo play here in the last few years is when he has been in the TBT, the basketball tournament. Will you be playing in that this summer, or does this kind of knock you out of that?
I'll be playing in it this summer. My conference, it doesn't start up until mid-July. So I feel like I'll be back with sideline cancer just in time enough to get ready for that and be ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys have had a great run there in the TBT with sideline cancer. You made it. Was it last year you made it to the finals? Championship game?
It was the year before that we made it to the finals. Last year we made it to the Elite Eight.
So it's been fun watching him now to be able to bring that over to the Timberjacks. That'll be fun. Any thought to, and I know the only thought is to try to make the team as good as it possible, Joey, but trying to incorporate either some local names or other potential college players like Maurice. I know I'm not talking about turning it into an alumni deal, but obviously adding those names is a draw. I mean, having a Maurice Creek is going to be a draw for former IU fans. Same would go for Purdue or Butler or any of those other schools.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We were thrilled to get Maurice, and we love the tie-in with Indiana University. We looked at lots of players from all over the country. We didn't really focus on Indiana guys. We did have several come to camp. We've got a couple that made the team, but for the most part, we consist of players from as far away as Texas down to Florida, out east. We really shook every bush we could find to come up with the best talent we could find.
Mo, I mentioned before, you need to get an IU TB team together. There's so many schools now to have those teams out. Maybe this could, now that you're back, maybe that could be the impetus for that, but we'll see. But I can't thank you guys enough. You've got a game tonight. You're on the road, I understand, right?
Yeah, we're in Kokomo tonight, and we're playing Newcastle and Anderson tomorrow night. Unfortunately, our schedule was loaded up with home games in the beginning. We played 8 home games right off the bat straight. And so now the second half of the season, it's a 24-game season. We're exactly halfway through. We had our all-star game last week in Syracuse, and so now we're ready to go. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit of an uphill climb. Our schedule's flip-flopped. Now we have 8 away games and 4 home games left to play. And but we feel, we're poised with the new additions that we've gotten, especially Maurice, that we're gonna try to run the table and hopefully play into June in the playoffs.
Mo, good luck tonight, man. Go out there and light it up. I'm sure it's felt good to get back to playing some basketball, and tonight you get back out on the court. Nerves? Any nerves getting back out there at all tonight? First game back, new league?
I wouldn't say it's nerves. I'm just more excited more than anything. You know, I've been playing for a very, very long time, so all the butterflies is out of the window now. It's just more so just trying to, you know, feel my teammates out. Now we're not playing against each other in practice. We're playing against people, and, you know, I'm still trying to figure out, like, what do they like, what do they not like, and, you know, things like that. So that's the things I'm kind of thinking about right now. I got a feel for it in practice, but when you're playing against somebody else, things start to be a little different. So hopefully we can just keep the camaraderie of the team. And, you know, now that we're here, they got somebody like me who wants to win. And I know they want to win bad. It just hopefully we can bring it all together and get some W's.
Looking forward to it, man. I hope you guys have a great weekend and get yourselves a pair of wins on the road.
Hey, anybody watch these games on TV?
I think you lost it. Say it again.
He might have froze.
Yeah, I think
unfortunate timing.
Mo, we'll get that information. Where are those games available? Do you know?
I think they're on TBL TV, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll find it and post it.
Yeah, I kind of send out the link after I get off of here, but I don't think I can do it right now.
Is that right, Joey? Was that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Just
all right, we got
head to TBL TV, click on the link.
That's perfect, man. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, good luck this weekend. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. We look forward to keeping up with you. We'll see what Mo was able to get accomplished and the team over the weekend, and talk about it again on Monday.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys, and thank everybody else. We cannot thank you enough for being on today, of course, always. Without you, there's no reason for us to be here. Big thanks, of course, to Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com. Zach was not able to be here with us, but we thank him as always anyway. Jeffrey the Greek, of course, John the producer. Most importantly, thanks to you guys. Without you, we've got no reason to be here. Go out and have yourselves a great weekend. Looking forward to it, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on. Until then, until Monday, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana